This ain't no rap shit. Definitely ain't no cap shit, man. It's a whole lot of legal trap shit. Tell the people where we at today.
You definitely at the Crab Trap right here in Fort Worth, Texas. This is my lovely wife, Daisy, and I am Terrence, and we're right here at the Crab Trap, located in Fort Worth, Texas.
Fort Worth,
You a taste of coastal Georgia.
That's right.
Okay.
Taste of coastal Georgia, and we've been in. I'll stop right there.
Nah, keep going.
We've been in Texas for 6 years, and we doing our thing out here, and we happy to bring this trap goodness to Texas. So we came out here, for that purpose.
What even brought y'all to Texas?
That's a great question. Would you like to?
Well, it goes all the way back to 2006 when we flew out here for our anniversary.
That's cool.
We was out here visiting, and when we left, I told him, I'm like, dang, this feel like home. And so it's strange when you're leaving a place you visit, and when you go back home, you feel like you left home.
It's a whole different feeling.
A whole different feeling.
It was weird because I was like to myself, I'm sitting there like, we just came out to Texas, and we flew out here to Dallas and went into the area, and we visited some places out here, and then we went back to South Georgia. And when we went back to South Georgia, it was interesting because it's like, it feel weird like we left home.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, we from small town South Georgia. There's a lot of things that go on. We come from a place. But the interesting thing is like a big, Texas to me, especially this area, is like a big version of country. So that's what we get out of it. But we got back here, and then things started from that point.
Yeah, it took us 9 years to get back, but we made it back.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's go back some more. What made y'all even want to open like a restaurant? Or just be your own boss and jump into this entrepreneurship lane?
You want to start?
That goes way back with him.
Yeah. The entrepreneur lane go way back as a kid. So it really didn't start at this level of restaurant. And even the restaurant business, the food, unquote, food industry, my mom sold food. My grandmama sold food. My grandmama was selling barbecue on the side of the road.
So it's like it was in your bloodline.
Yeah, it's in the family. So right now, my brother, he's a cook. My daughter, she's a cook in Atlanta. And so my oldest son, he's starting to get into it as well. So that's weeding into my DNA, as a family thing, the restaurant. But however, prior to that, where I learned how to, do business, it started as a kid. And as a kid, I'm throwing dances in the neighborhood. I'm using ideas coming together. Say, hey man, you want to invest $50 here, and getting three of my partners say, you got $50? You got 50? You got 50? You get about $150, $200. You go rent a building. Then back then, you get a DJ for $50, and you just making things happen. So I did things of that nature, in the streets, taking out flyers and going to the streets with it, and people showing up at the dances. And so it was things like that just kept leading on. But to the restaurant, it more called me. It more called us, because we started that in the streets.
Okay.
We started that in the streets.
Yeah.
So we get out here to Texas. I don't even know the areas I'm at. I'm a Georgia boy, so I'm happy.
You just picked a spot?
Well, here's the thing. I'm a Georgia boy.
Yeah, because basically how it goes, wherever we go, we look for seafood.
Okay.
So we couldn't find what we was looking for.
Correct.
So we started cooking our own, and then we experiment with seasoning. We make our own seasoning now.
Make our own seasoning.
He had me to go out to my job. I used to work at McKesson. He had me to go out there and sell some cookies just to see what they'll do. So it was like, you know what? Let's see if we can get some orders for some seafood.
Absolutely.
So, I kind of asked, what you'll pay for a crab plate or whatever. And they kind of told me, I pay this or whatever. So I told them, I said, okay, when I go back to work, I'm going to take some orders. Came back home with 32 orders.
So,
about 32 orders.
It was a good
and
day.
then, I did it at one time, but they start emailing me, hey, you taking orders this week? You taking orders this week? And then we also posted on Facebook Marketplace.
And also, we went to the streets with it. So you seen us at the hair salon. So we at the hair salon, we knew that the women would be there and all that. The women are generally the most who shows up to the restaurants. The women generally bring the guys to the restaurants.
Right.
So we knew where to market at. So we was going to the hair salon places and the boutique places and where they sold that. We out there passing out flyers. We would go to the park in Fort Worth. What was
Car
Park? We just everywhere out there passing out flyers. And so we just used the streets, went into the streets and promoted our product, and people, they latched on to it, and it just took off from there.
So when did y'all make this transition from working a 9 to 5 to doing this full time?
Great question. What happened was, so we started at our house first. And like she said, she told you about the story, taking it to the job in the streets. From that point, there was a convenience store right up the neighborhood where we stay at. Every time I would go into this store, they had this little vacant kitchen back there.
Right.
And there was a Shell station. And I was like, you know what? I asked the guy, told my wife, I said, we done been delivering, I'm built up a following, we need to put this into a box. So I put it into a store. Asked the guy, could I rent the space? He rented it to me. And 6 months into the lease, we started getting a lot of customers coming. The first month was really slow, and he was all right with that. But when the customers showed up,
Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
That first month being slow, did you ever get discouraged? Be like, nah, this ain't it.
Let me go. Yeah, I'm glad you asked that, because I'll give you one day. There was a Friday that we was at the restaurant, and me, my wife, and my son at the time was running the business. And that first month and a half, maybe 2 months.
Yeah.
But I remember one particular Friday, we worked like 8 hours. We made like $40. $40 in the whole 8 hours that we was there on a Friday. And so it was times like that you go home and you go, is this really what I want to do? And I think that really in life gonna challenge you. I don't care who you are, it's gonna be some times that you're gonna go through where you're gonna get challenged. And when you go through that, that's where you have to dig your roots deep. And you have to dig deep, and this is where life will say, do you really want this or not?
Yeah.
And so, and here's another thing. You can't let each day has its own thing. So if you let one day determine your whole, how life's gonna turn out for you, there's another day. And I feel like God give you enough grace for each day.
Yeah.
So we took that grace what God gave us that day. We ate that $40 and said, thank you. We appreciate them people whoever spent that money. And when you're in a thankful state, you continue to receive more and more and more instead of being ungrateful.
Right.
So I was in a thankful state. Thank God for that. And it helped me to get through the rough times and hard times. But watch this. Those times really strengthen you. Those are the times when you dig deep and start thinking, and how can you do better? Or what else you can do to bring more to the project to make it better. So you go harder and your roots go deeper when the storm hits.
Okay, so about how long did it take until y'all got that spot actually just rolling with customers coming in and out?
Because we started in December. We got that spot in December. And
February.
it was February.
Yeah.
It was actually our anniversary. We
February
went up
14th.
we was invited back up to 97.9 with Vita Loca in the morning show, because we already had fed them previously.
But tell them how we
It was a
got.
young lady that ate our food that posted it, and her post went viral.
No, they need to know how we even got the 97.9 to be, and that's where she came into play.
Yeah, I was one of the ones that always calling to the radio station winning.
Right.
So I was familiar with them, and I was heading to work, and
Right.
I switched
This is
from
the transition.
K104, and I switched over to 97.9. As soon as I went to 97.9, I heard Vita say, "Yeah, it's Hustle Hard Thursday. Call in and tell us what your hustle is." I think I was the
So
first
what your
one that
side
got it.
hustle is? What was your side hustle? So you working, you had a side hustle. She called into the radio station. She got through. She said, "Yeah," and you told
Yeah,
them.
and I told her what we did. I said, "Yeah, me and my husband, We have the crowd trap. She said, the trap.
Yeah.
She was like, oh Lord, they trapping.
Right.
And so, you
They
know,
trapping out
and
the
then I
house,
heard,
yeah.
and then my husband, I told him to turn it on, and he heard Jazzy Black in the back telling, y'all come up here.
Come up to the station.
That's all we needed. And we went up
And we
to the
showed
station.
up with the food. So that was a big start right
Yeah.
there. So that's why I want her to tell that part
Yeah.
because that was a critical
Yeah,
part.
that Hustle Hard Thursday actually opened up the door for us to even get into there.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they brought you more business when you
Yes.
guys were working at the gas station?
Right.
Yeah.
So prior to, we moved into the gas station and we at the Shell, and I used to say, just like the crowd, we located inside the Shell, come see us. So that was the little slogan I would give people. So we're located at the Shell, and the first month and two months didn't go so well. We didn't get our real customers, but in the meantime, we developed, other things. That's when I say dig deeper. So we came there with the intention of selling seafood. Then we dug into the wings. Then we dug
Hamburgers.
into the hamburgers. And then I wasn't gonna barbecue out here because it's Texas, they loaded with barbecue. There's no need for more barbecue joint. But my background is barbecue. Real quick thing, national barbecue competition. I placed in the ribs, placed in the chicken, and placed third overall in the first time that I entered the competition. And I entered the competition being by myself, and I laughed at, and I came there on my pickup truck and a little backyard grill.
Yeah.
And I got told that there was teams, and I was so green to the game. This was in 2008. I actually got the picture up there with me holding the plaques up. And so the team's laughing at me. They're going like, you got to have a team. And so the judges come right and say, what's the name of your team? And I said, well, there's nobody but me, Team Shields. So I'm just a dude coming with my little backyard grill. And these guys got these big old pits and, long grills and all this. And they got about 10-member teams and all that. And they laughing at me. They're like, you got your little wood down there. Well, at the end of the day, when they was calling the winners to the circle, those guys that was laughing didn't even get called up there. I got called and placed in both categories the first time I entered. So my background is smoking meats and barbecuing and things of that nature. So at the Shell, when the seafood crowd hadn't showed up, I'm like, well, man, we got to do something. Pulled out those barbecue, and people, when the crowd did show up, what happened?
Yeah, we had to put all that on the back burner.
Right,
because-
and they got hot.
Yeah, because
They was upset because they was loving the
barbecue.
they was loving the barbecue. So I was
Yeah.
like, so we had to try to find a way to kind of bring that back at this level, but we still haven't really got there yet. So there are more things to come. So
Okay, so how long did y'all last in this Shell location before you we need a bigger building, we need to go ahead and scale and expand?
well, we were more. I'm just gonna be real about it. 6 months into the lease, the owner
Increase the rent.
he increased the rent by 50%.
Yeah, he wanted us out.
He
so
really wanted
thought-
us out. It was like we had a year lease, and he goes, because we was getting a lot of attention, the radio station. Like what happened was, this was the breakout day. We go back to the radio
February.
station. They call us back. We're going out there to feed them, and it was February the 15th. It was
Yeah.
on a Friday morning. We go to the radio station. We say some things. Vita shot us out. And at that point, nobody knew where we were. And man, that day
They just
it
pushed
was like
hard.
it just went crazy. Everybody piled up at the Shell. It went viral. People were sharing the page. Shout out to everybody who did that. Thank you so much. People were sharing the page, and then we had a crowd in the place. And so our seafood customers actually found us at that moment. And that's really what took off. So it took about 3 months for us to actually get found.
Mm-hmm.
But I can tell you this. Those 3 months, it wasn't like we had a pile of money.
No. And then it wasn't like we had a pile of money to start off
It
with.
wasn't like we had a pile of money to start off with. It definitely started with humble beginnings. We didn't have a whole lot to work with. But we took what we had to work with, and we worked it. And that's what we did. And we just kept putting our money back into the business, so the business would grow.
Yeah, that's what you really have to do when starting a business. You have to take that money The
Be
money that
disciplined
you
with it.
yes, and reinvest it. You can't go
Reinvest.
take it and spend it.
Spending and
Because if
running
you
here.
take it and spend it, you're not gonna succeed.
Absolutely.
You're not gonna have the money
Six-
to re-up.
6 months into the lease, the guy wants to go up 50% of the lease. And I go, I have a moment. What are you gonna do? Because he has the upper hand. And here's a moment where I say, now I know I gotta have something to ourselves, where I don't share something with someone else.
Right.
And I know this is the time I got to do this. But prior to that, 3 months in, we were already looking for a new spot. Anyway, it was hard to find something in this area. And so I had no choice but to really just, run it out. Okay, we got to give you that until the lease ends. Well, come January, watch this, 2020. He comes out and he just finally tells it in a nutshell, like, it's time for y'all to go. I don't want to renew the lease. I want you out. Had nothing to do with us paying rent. He went up 50% and we paid him the 50%. Had nothing to do with that. It was simply based on he didn't like we was making money and but I'll get out of that. But let me move on. January 2020, we look and we find this location. All right, wonderful, great. We tried to make a decision in February, said, what we gonna do? Are we gonna sign this lease or not? So we go ahead and sign the lease. February of 2020. Didn't know 2 weeks before the pandemic dropped.
Yeah.
So we over here all happy and excited.
taking
Yeah,
out
man, we got
yeah,
our
we
own
just
spot. We got the big place, and here's life. Saying, oh great, but
All
watch
right.
this. Now a pandemic hit. Now we sitting here, just signed the lease in February, and here we are, done left that location because we really didn't have a choice. So we more were pushed out and said, now you got a great location, great building. And they go, well, there was a pandemic. And we're like, what you mean, what is a pandemic? And so we sitting back, and here's the other opposition that was against us. The media, social media, every news organization, every politician, everybody out there was against restaurants. And they had their guns, their social media guns, or their whatever, their power, pointing at restaurants, said, don't go to restaurants. So here we are in this industry that we love, that we done dedicated ourselves to, done stepped out of the comfort zone of working for somebody else. We out here on our own, and a pandemic drop. What do you do when a pandemic drops?
How did y'all adjust to that? Like,
Great.
That's a great question.
Here's the thing, what we did. We went back to our roots. We started in the streets, and we went back to the streets.
Yeah, but first we said we weren't gonna do anything. We didn't go right back to the streets. We kind of like, got the building, kind of came here, whatever. It was the customer's request that made us go back to the streets. They're like, hey, I don't care if you're cooking out your house. I want the food.
Right.
see, I had a building, just paying rent on it.
Well, that was the good thing about it. We told the landlord, hey, can y'all work with us during this pandemic? I said, cause we can't even get the lights turned on or nothing, cause everything is shut down. So they worked with us. Thank God for that.
For only 3 months.
For 3 months, they
So
worked
come
with us.
June, July, August, they want rent, and we had to pay rent. So they worked with us for 3 months.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, we didn't open till September. So there was no rent. There was no business coming through here until September. And so you can imagine having to pay rent on space like this and that.
Yeah.
During that time, it was really like, okay, this is tough.
Yeah.
So yeah, we was
Yeah.
in a tough situation. So the people came through. We took all the money that we had there, and there was no PPP loans with us. We tried.
They got denied
Denied.
multiple times.
So I don't know how everybody else got them. That's to props out to if you got it, whatever. But we ain't getting no PPP money, not a dime. We got denied, and we got a business and everything else, and we got denied. So people say, "Hey, I got PPP." No, it wasn't no PPP money.
Now, street money.
Yeah.
No, it was God sending people our way to bless us,
Yeah.
and that's what we got. And so that's the only thing I can give credit to is God. 'Cause it wasn't nothing that man sent us. It was the people that came and supported our business, and they knew what we was up against. They knew the situation, but they love the food, and we really, really, really appreciate them for supporting us during that time. And even to this day, they still come. And they be like, yeah, we have gained so many new customers that was so great, even on the streets, even more during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So we picked up new customers during the pandemic, dropping food off, meeting them at a store.
So fast forward, y'all open when? September.
September the 8th. Yeah.
How did that go?
It was a great opening.
Yeah.
Great opening.
Yeah.
It was
Booming.
packed. It
Yeah.
was booming. Great money. But at the same time, we are a pickup
And go.
and go location, but we transitioned into a
Dining.
dine-in
So when you guys first opened, you used to go on
Yeah, to go on.
to go on it.
with this
Right.
with the same size space.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with this
we had
space here.
but all they could do was pick up and go.
Okay.
And
Pick up
then
and go.
anybody dine in.
And that had to do with the pandemic, and it actually helped us somewhat because what we did was learn, okay, this is what we got to do. Okay, we're learning this here because we're at a bigger location. Because our background is pick up and go.
Right.
Pick up and go. Or we were in the delivering at another point of
Yeah.
At Shell, too.
At Shell. Then you also have to fit in, bringing in new staff.
and
So we
learning
got
the
to
system
train
that
them.
we got, and we
Yeah.
have to train them and get them ready. So the pandemic, in some way, it helped us because things were slowed down. People were still in pickup mode, but we got space to sit you. So it's been like that.
That's good. What advice do you have to the ones that's making that transition from a 9 to 5 to doing their own thing, whether it's a restaurant, whatever business it is? What advice could you guys give them?
You wanna-
Yeah, because that was the biggie for me because I was more the 9 to 5 person. He's always had the entrepreneur mind. So it was a struggle.
Let me
for
ask you this. Hold on, Paul. You being a 9 to 5, he being an entrepreneur, did y'all ever clash at times?
Yes. Yes, he was
Yes.
absolutely mad at me
Yes.
because
Yeah. Great question.
yes,
Yes.
because my movement on stuff was
Wasn't
not
the
on
same
his
as him.
time, and I hesitate with stuff, procrastinated with stuff. I'm not going to even lie.
So
Yes.
how did y'all manage to work through that and get past that where y'all could come together and have that chemistry as a team?
Okay.
Yeah, we worked good as a team. It was just my mindset of just okay. I'm depending on this for sure paycheck.
Yeah. And when you
No.
jump out here, ain't nothing for sure.
Yeah,
For
ain't
Absolutely.
no
failure.
for sure. And so I just had to suck it up, I'm like, okay, he didn't prove me. My husband, we do candles. It was a whole year we worked just doing candles. So Texas is way bigger than Georgia.
Right.
So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna put in my notice. Put in my notice. I said, and then, I'm like, it ain't nothing but faith. Cause we go to church and we hear that say walk by faith, not by sight.
Right.
Then you really have to be tested in it. That was my walk by faith and not by sight moment. I said, well, Lord, I said, okay, it's that time. Let me go ahead and put these notice in. I ain't give him 2, I gave him 3 weeks notice. Had to get my mind right. But, my husband, I know my husband's a hard worker. So it helps to have somebody in your corner when you're transitioning from a 9 to 5 that can help guide you as well. So I let it go, and when I left, it was like the best feeling I ever had.
Freedom.
Yeah, I ain't got to get up and go clock in, because I was getting on that road, heading out there by the airport 5-something in the morning, going to work. So just know that, when I'm coming, it's mine. When I'm working hard, it's mine. It's not for nobody else. And then it was a guy that my husband used to work when he told me, said, you can never get rich working for another man. And that always stuck with me. And I used to tell that to some of my coworkers, hey, you can't get rich working for another person because another person is never going to pay you what you're really worth.
Paying your
Nah.
pennies on a dollar.
Now, I would say this, you can't get rich working for another person, but it's absolutely necessary that you go through the process
Yes.
of working for someone else. Why? Because there are tons of things you're going to pick up from this, you're going to pick up from that. I'll go back to when I was 15 years old. Watch this. was 15 years old, and I got a job at McDonald's. There was a guy there named Mr. Dan. I still remember him to this day. I still remember his clean cut look because he was a military guy. He used to have this saying, if you got time to lean, you got time to clean. He would say that. But his business, the floors would be in this McDonald's. It would be clean. The grill area be clean, the front be clean, the lobby be clean, the floors are shining, the counters are shining. Everything on Mr. Dan's shift went smooth. And I was like, I hated Mr. Dan. Why? Because I was this young kid who didn't want to be told, oh, this and that and all of that. But if I could see Mr. Dan now, I would thank him to the heart because Mr. Dan comes up in my spirit for such a time as this. The things he taught me in the kitchen at McDonald's, I still take to my business to this day. So are jobs necessary? Absolutely. But there's a time when you make that leap. You get what I'm saying? When you feel like it's time to make that leap and go on to your own journey. The biggest thing I can give as an advice is that believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. And a lot of people hear that, they say, oh, yeah. No. A lot of people believe in others more so than they believe in themselves. And the reason why I say believe in yourself is simply because whatever gift you got, it ain't gonna fail you. God is too great to give you a gift that's gonna fail you. And people say, why go into the restaurant industry and da. Restaurants go up and down, they fell down. Well, that's the gift. If I have the gift in it and I put in the work, my gift ain't gonna fail me. My gift will make room for me and bring me before a great man. But it's like yourself and you know your family there. So your gift brings you into people like you, meeting people like you guys, and y'all doing a great thing with your program here. I love the movement that you have, and so it's really seeing you step out and do something like this is even more magical, you know, because you're stepping out as well as we're stepping out. So
Right.
we're all stepping out in our own way, but you're using your gift. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And we're only using our gift. That's all we're using. Our gift brought us to this realm. Not our money, not our talk game. It was our gift. And that's what I can tell people. What's your gift? What's your gift? Whatever gift you got, go on that. Because there's no way God's going to give you a natural gift that'll fail you. So work on that natural gift. You can get a job anytime.
Okay.
Jobs come, jobs go. Jobs
People should
are
learn that during the
everywhere.
pandemic. A lot of people got to see
Yeah.
what they jobs was really about.
And that's exactly the
Yeah.
pandemic. You know, I actually think 2020 was really real.
It was an eye-opener for
It was an
everybody.
eye-opener.
Yeah.
Like perfect vision. Now we see, oh man, I can actually do that. And now people's lives
Man,
have
a lot
trend.
of people dig down deep and like, okay,
Yeah.
what can I do?
We've actually met a lot of our customers who transitioned into doing their own thing. Now, full time, the guy that does the floors here, he was working with this company and he says, no, now I'm going to just do my own thing. He does a great job.
Now they
He-
shining.
Yes, he does a wonderful job. So he got businesses, you know, all around the DFW. But prior to the pandemic, he was just, you know, locked into this space. And it more forced people out of that space. And that's where people woke up and said, wait a minute, I've been asleep. Yeah. Here's your opportunity to wake up and do something for yourself. So,
Yeah. And another thing I would add to that too, when transitioning from a 9 to 5, also whatever you're going into, research it.
research it.
Research
Research.
You know, make sure you know what you know. Have you a business plan. Have what you're gonna do, because you just can't say, "Oh, I'm leaving and going."
Right,
You, ain't
you
got
gotta
no
have a
plan.
plan.
You haven't researched it.
You gotta have a plan.
You got to have a plan.
Without a vision, you will perish.
Know who your targeted market is.
Notice we went to the
Yes.
women, the places, and we said women gather here, and we passing out flyers, targeted market. So,
Yeah. So that's another thing. Just make sure you do your research on whatever you thinking about going into, and then just have your plan. Have your plan together.
and don't be afraid of the failures.
Yeah, and don't be afraid of people telling you no, because it's gonna be a yes out there somewhere.
Right. And L's are only lessons. So they're not losses, they're just lessons. So don't take it as a loss if, just like that time we had on that Friday, we only made $40. Can you go to the next day and expect even better? Can you be thankful for the moment that you're in? So that's where we're at, and we're still growing. We don't have this all together. We still learning things each and every day. So it's a learning curve. So we're thankful for just to be in a position to even learn now and still be profiting in the business. So we're grateful for that.
That's beautiful. Before we go, tell people what are some of you guys' top menu items?
Got you.
Everything.
I'm gonna say everything
But
too.
what's the number one seller where everybody come in? Can I get
The
this?
grilled
this?
salmon.
Yeah.
The grilled salmon. People,
Yeah.
for some reason, people love our grilled salmon. We
Yeah.
sell a lot of grilled salmon, a lot of salmon. The crabs, the crab combos definitely sell a lot because the thing about our crab combos, we don't cook a Cajun boil. We from Georgia. It's only 3 regions that do a low country seafood boil. A low country seafood boil it's only the 3 regions is Georgia, South Carolina, and Maine. The difference in a low country boil and a Cajun boil is that the Cajun boil is all put in the same pot and they make it hot. We cook everything separate. The crabs here, the corn there, the sausage there, the shrimp there, everything's cooked separate. Right. We don't want your corn tasting like shrimp. We don't want your potatoes tasting like the crab. We want everything to have its own unique flavor. And so we make our own seasoning,
Yeah.
and we season our trap butter, which we call it trap sauce at that point. And that's where the unique.
He got a rap too. He got a wrap too.
She
But
told on you.
But
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
also, and then like our sausage, a lot of people boil it. We don't. Our sausage are fried, and then we have trapeze. So trapeze come in there, but we offer plain eggs as well. And people like, what is trapeze? It's a vinegar-based egg that has our seasoning on top. So some people love it, and some people like,
don't.
ugh, no.
So either you can get a plain egg, and you don't have to worry about that. Don't have to go through that. Or you can have your choice. But yeah, I did a rap about the business and stuff like that, and it's just talking about our stuff on the menu. Maybe I should just said that. Just talked it out.
Just yeah.
We're gonna get that part. Don't worry about it.
Oh wow.
All right, tell them again where you guys located at.
We're located in Fort Worth, Texas, and that's 3401 Alta Mesa Boulevard, right here in Fort Worth, Texas. Located next to Discount Tires.
Discount Tire, man. We live in the crab trap.
Yes, sir.
Man, this ain't no rap shit. Definitely ain't no cap shit, man. We at the crab trap,
Best
man.
believe it.
Whole lot of legal trap shit.